Welcome to setting up RenderQ. The first thing you'll want to do is go to your template output modules and set up all your favorite output modules if you haven't already. One of my favorites is ProRes 444. Then you'll want to go back into your output module settings and set up your 4 favorite still render formats. Then you'll want to go into your templates render settings and create any custom render settings for that as well. Then launch the RenderQ script. As you can see, it comes up pretty blank. So then go down to the settings checkbox and check that, and then expand the box. Check Enable Output 1 and then select an output module, and you'll see that it's updated in the button on top. You can test it out by selecting a bunch of comps in the project window and hitting the button. When Prompt for Save Location is checked, it'll bring up a Save dialog box. Open a window that you want to save to and hit Save. And just like that, all the comps you had selected will be sent to the RenderQ using that codec. As you can see on top, the rendering path will be displayed. And then if you click on the plus button, it'll be added to the locations pull-down. Back down in the settings is the render path display levels. Select how many levels deep you want to display your render path. Now to select another output module to use with button 1, go down and check Enable Output 2 and select your Output 2 module. Then select the Output 2 checkbox and both codecs will appear on the Render 1 button. And then just like that, when you select a comp and hit the button, it'll render off 2 different movies with different output modules. If you go back in the settings and check Output Module Only, then it'll render off just an output module using the same render settings. When mod name is checked, Module 2 will have its module name automatically added. This will prevent conflicts if there's similar naming. Check and uncheck between output 1 and 2 as needed. When mod name is checked and text is entered in Module 1 and 2 inputs, those names will be used as module names in renders. If you check the Suffix checkbox and have an input, all renders will have suffix added. When Prompt for Save is unchecked and you hit the plus button, it'll allow you to add a new location to the pull-down. And if you hit the minus button, it'll delete those locations from the pull-down. The folder that you're rendering to will always be displayed. Use the same methods to set up buttons 2 and 3. Button 4 is a little different and it has its output module select right underneath it. You'll be using that later. The stills pull-down is determined by the still 1 through 4 settings. So go into those settings and select those 4 favorite still render formats that you had created. And then the main stills pull-down is automatically updated with those settings. Then use the main still checkbox and pull-down to determine which still format you want to use with your buttons. At the bottom of the settings is the plus still frame checkboxes. Each button can render a still if those checkboxes are checked. You can check or uncheck the output 1 and output 2 buttons to determine if you want to render off just stills or movies and stills. And finally, there's the button color checkbox, which allows you to change the colors of the buttons. Click on the color mix and it'll actually use different colors for the buttons. Then turn off the settings checkbox and make the window as small as you'd like. You can have it display 1, 2, 3, or all buttons. You can even dock it. For stills, it's ideal to go into your file project settings and change frame count to start at 0. Depending on your still frame output module, still frames might always include a frame number at the end. If the F pound is checked, the render will include frame in its name. And if TC is checked, the still render will include the timecode in its name. But timecode must be displayed in the project timeline. If timecode isn't being displayed, go to your project settings and change it. Or you can Command or Control click on the frame count in your comp timeline. If custom frame number is checked, still render will be determined by exact frame or frame from start. And as you can see, even with the window shrunken down, button 4 output module can be changed on the fly. Now that it's all set up, you can use all 4 buttons to send off all your comps with different output modules or stills to the RenderQ. Happy rendering!